You see what I'm saying? But he cannot give a definition to it. He can say, here is what I am being when this is happening, but I can't tell you what I'm doing, in the sense that doing leads from point A to point B to point C to a conclusion that is describable. He can say that he experiences being on the beam, being on purpose, but he cannot tell you what the purpose is.
I need to be a little more specific, I think. When I talk about my purpose, I talk about political restructuring in the country, and I have an idea about how that should occur, and I claim when I'm speaking about this that we need new models for governing agencies.
But there you are describing what you're doing. But I haven't heard you describe who you are in those words. That's not a definition of you.
Well, on occasion, lightheartedly, I say I'm a revolutionary, but...
And Paul says, on occasion, when there is not time to go into any detail, that he channels Jesus, or he channels someone who is totally awake. And yet that's not really the appropriate words to use. Those are not really the appropriate words to use. As I said, don't take it too seriously, and I also said, you don't take it too seriously. You are more than what you're doing. You are not caught in a very limited definition that will determine your success or failure as a being. So you are not caught in a trap, and this is not what the first question was really aimed at. My answer to him was an answer to a different question, where he was looking for a definition that would allow him to feel at peace about himself in the world, because he could, in so many words, provide credentials. And that's not the reason to be at peace with himself. And what you're talking about has nothing to do with providing a definition so that you can feel at peace with yourself in the world.
Thank you, I understand now.
Okay. Hands. In the white blouse? In the dress? Yes.
I'm not sure if it's appropriate to ask about somebody else, but I have a brother, and I've been working with him, and I heard about what you said about justices and injustices, and I'm wondering if you see...
Hold it closer to you.
I'm wondering if you see him out of the Institute.
There is a lot of stubbornness there that will delay his coming out. But don't you give up on him for a moment. Don't you believe his presentation of himself. But also pay attention to your limits so that you don't exhaust yourself in the process of hanging in there with him. He needs someone who doesn't believe what he believes about himself. but you're not to sacrifice yourself in any way in the process of being there for him in that way. Do you understand?
Yes.
It's not up to you, it's up to him. He's got his hand on the switch where he says, yes, I'm going to be stubborn, or no, I'm going to abandon being stubborn. He's got his hand on the switch. So never think it's up to you. Use your common sense. Honor yourself, and don't override your integrity for him. I'll say this to everyone. Don't any of you override your integrity for someone else. That is not love. If you will stay in your integrity, you will be able to be there for him much longer than if you sacrificed your integrity and tried to be more for him than you have energy for, or if you try to be more for him than you can be because your hand isn't on that switch. It will be a while before he's out, as things stand now. But you never know when the clarity and love that you share with him will be what it takes for him to justify looking at it a different way and releasing his willfulness, his resistance. You see? It's tricky. At the same time that you know another doesn't have to be caught for a moment longer, because what's binding him is fabulous, in the sense that I used that word earlier. At the same time that you know that, you can't afford to want him to see it. Knowing that it's possible for him to have instantaneous healing that would promote his release. Doesn't involve willfulness in any way. It doesn't involve assertion in any way. It's like knowing the truth. You just know that it's true. It's a knowing that abides in you and doesn't require any action to make it true. And the knowing that it's true, and you're carrying that knowing with you in your involvement with him, is a non-coercive environment that you bring with you that doesn't cause resistance because there's no coercion on your part, and it makes healing more possible. But the minute you want him to see it, you've shifted into a willful, assertive, coercive frame of mind. And you will defeat yourself because not even you will change for someone else. You understand?
Yes.
It's an important thing. Don't want something for somebody else, because then you will involuntarily slip into the role of teacher, which really means coercer. I'm telling you that so you don't get caught in it and deplete your energy. As I said earlier, no matter where you are on your path or in your growth or no matter where you are in your return to home, to being fully enlightened, there's always somebody for whom you can be a meaningful presence. Put that way, you are exposed in a positive light. Now I will reverse it, and I don't mean negative, but just 180 degrees. No matter how deeply you're caught in ego dynamics, no matter how badly you're hurting, you and everyone else are always standing at their leading edge. They're standing as far forward in their clarity as they can bring themselves to be at the moment. So, even though your brother may be caught in circumstances brought on by ignorance of his divinity, he is standing as far forward as he can stand, and therefore is standing on the threshold of enlightenment, relatively speaking, and therefore you can honor him for where he is, even if you cannot honor what he's believing at the moment. And if you honor him for standing as far forward as he is able to stand, he will feel that acknowledgement of his integrity, even if, relatively speaking, it seems that he's illustrating very little integrity. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's no need to judge him for being in an ignorant place. Every single one of you are standing in some level of ignorance at the moment because you're not totally awake. That is not a judgment. And I recognize that, and I respond to each of you at your threshold of discovery, and I invite you to come a little bit more forward. I honor you where you are and invite you a little bit forward of that point. Not enough to overwhelm you. I inspire you to feel like you can dare to move forward a little. And because you experience no judgment from me, you feel no need to protect yourself against my wanting you to be something you can't be yet. Even though I've told you from the outset today that you're not behind the point of perfection or advancing toward it, but you're already there. You see what I'm saying? When someone feels that you recognize their integrity, even though relatively speaking by some measuring sticks, they seem to have very little, they feel loved. And when someone feels loved, it's easier for them to feel safe. And when they feel safe, there's more courage to step forward a little bit. You see? it's almost time to end. And I want to say something that embellishes upon what we've just been talking about, but especially for everyone. There are those who call themselves teachers, spiritual teachers. And some of them teach of highly complex processes of awakening and complex rituals or behaviors that must be practiced obediently. And others who say that awakening comes through a greater intellectual understanding of truth. And others who manage to talk a sort of spiritual double talk that causes you to feel like something has been said that you almost understand but not quite, and so you feel thrilled by the supposed disclosure of something just beyond your grasp. And there are others who say, you must turn your back on the world, it's all an illusion, it has nothing to do with God. And what I want to say most clearly is that the only teacher you need is right in the middle of you. And it's not you, it's God. Because God is all there is of you. And God's presence is your constituting presence. And the way home, the path, if you will, is not through the intellect, it's not through understanding, it's not through practices or rituals. It lies only in, as I've said to Paul, keeping your feet on the ground and your head not too far away. And how is it embodied, or how can it be described? It can be described in moments of caring for whoever it is that's next to you, no matter what his leading edge is, whether what seems to be one of profound ignorance or great enlightenment, recognizing that one's essential value because you know that he's neither behind the point of perfection nor moving towards it, but is at that point, and therefore not wanting anything for him that would cause you to try to coerce him into being better, and abiding with that one in that moment with appreciation rather than judgment or criticism or anything else. How does divine love register in the world? By the meeting of the human need, not by rising above the human need, not by calling the human need an illusion, not by saying offhandedly, well, it isn't true. As I said, in the presence of love, another feels no need for defense, feels safe, and in that safe environment is able for his own reasons to step a little bit forward, further past his threshold, current threshold of his awakening. Any time, any place where you can bring love into the picture, you are engaging in the essence of that which will promote awakening. And in effect, this is all we've talked about today. But remember that no matter what anyone says, your awakening is going to be experienced as human needs met. Not human needs discounted or talked away, but human needs met. Standing up without a wheelchair, climbing a mountain, being the helper instead of the helpee, being the husband or the wife or the partner, whose presence illuminates and makes bright everything that happens in the relationship. Human needs met. Which means you've got to be willing to look into your brother's eyes instead of afar off into God knows what. You see? Keep your feet on the ground and your head not too far away, and your attention will be where God is appearing and can be recognized. I love you all.